Hey you guys, it's me Kiana coming at you today, and I'm coming at you because I wanted to do a video on something that I have been observing um, since I have been dropping weight. And as you all know, I am 6 months post-op. I had my gastric sleeve performed on December the 14th, 2012, and I had my gastric sleeve performed in Mexico. And I was a self-pay patient, and it was performed by Dr. Lopez. So, um, if you haven't seen those videos, I have many, many videos. It will say Mexico or gastric sleeve or whatever in the title. So, for those who are new to my channel, make sure you go back and check out some of the videos because I did log the whole experience before, during, and after. And it's going to give you great insight into having the gastric sleeve, and not only having the gastric sleeve but traveling abroad and paying cash for the surgery itself. Right now I wanted to talk to you guys about, again, that's something I've observed by my peers in my environment. And you guys know that I just moved to a new home. I am loving my new home, and I mentioned that because it's not that these are my normal peers or my usual peers, because I don't know anybody as of yet in the area that I'm in. So, and I like it like that. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. But I wanted to share with you guys something that I've noticed, and it's almost like when you're losing weight, you become invisible. Once you reach a certain amount of weight, when it doesn't look so abnormal to society. Sure, I'm big, I'm still fat. let's face the facts. I haven't arrived, you know, um, but in my community, we're used to seeing Big Mama, and we're used to seeing a woman that's, a size 22 or a size 20 or whatever. We're used to seeing that. That's not so abnormal for my community. So if you are in that group of people, or if you're in that size group, you kind of blend in a little bit. Sure, you get some people that still think that that's huge, uh, but in my community, it's not so abnormal to be that size. Um, Now, when you start getting into like a size 30, 32, 34, 36, like I was before my gastric sleeve, then that's when you start being abnormal in my community, or that's when you start being huge in my community, or labeled that. Um, so once you get to a size where it's not that uncommon, it's almost like you're invisible. Why do I say that? Or some may even ask, well, maybe that's just your insecurities, or maybe that's just, you know, um, maybe that's just because the area is new or whatever. No, I'll give you examples of what I mean by this. First of all, let me backtrack a little bit. When I was tipping the scales at almost 500 pounds, yes, almost 500 pounds. I was 475 pounds. When I was 475 pounds, everybody noticed me. Everybody. And it wasn't because I was loud or boisterous, or, uh, I wasn't that type of woman. I've always been a lady. I've always tried to carry myself with a certain amount of class. I've always had a level of respect for myself as well as my family, and I carried myself as such, with class and grace and dignity. And I also had a certain level of self-esteem. I wasn't one of those 475-pound women that walked with her head down, or walked with stains on her shirts, or had her clothes falling off of her. I wasn't one of those women who gained self-esteem only after I lost weight. No, I was always taught who I was and whom I belonged to. And I always was taught that, Kiana, you may be a fat little girl, but you sure got a pretty face. Or Kiana, you may be pudgy, but you cute as a button. I always was taught that. That was always instilled in me from very, very little. And I've always been a chunky girl. I've always been a chubby girl. Chubby girl turned into a heavy woman, a big woman, a fat woman, whatever you want to call me, or whatever you want to call me then or call me now. Um, the point is, I've always been like this. So I've always had a certain air about myself, even at 475 pounds. I always kept myself up. I always, uh, like I said, carried myself with a certain level of class. But I always was noticed because to some, that isn't the normal or the common thing when you're looking or talking about somebody that's almost 500 pounds. Okay? Um, because the stereotypes that go along with being a person that was almost 500 pounds. And I was noticed because I did not fit those stereotypes. I was the total opposite in people's eyes or society's eyes to what a 475-pound woman should be, or what they thought a 475-pound woman is. I was always the total opposite of that. So because I was the opposite of what many, maybe not you, but many people in society have this preconceived notion of what a 500-pound woman should act, how she should carry herself, how she should think, how she should look, how she should present herself. Because I didn't fit that category or those stereotypes, it made me stand out. It made a light shine on me. So I always was noticed. Now that I am fitting more into the mode of, or the normalcy of what is in my community, it's like I'm not being noticed, which is fine to me. It's just, and I'm not an attention whore. I'm not one of those people who I have to be noticed, or my self-esteem is destroyed, or I have to do stuff outrageous to gain people to notice me. Because what that does is it actually highlights your own self-esteem issues within yourself. And any smart person knows these things. They can pick up on it. So I don't have that issue. It's just an observation that I'm making, that I've noticed about how people interact or accept accept you more when you lose weight. And these are things that even someone who doesn't um, notice things all the time, you'll notice this once it happens. Um, Example of what now I go through. Um, I fell in a store, okay? And this is no lie. I fell in the store. It was a Goodwill store. So I was going thrifting. And I lie to you not, you guys. I lie to you not. I fell in the store, and everybody, nobody tried to help me up. Nobody noticed. People walked past. And as I'm digesting that I'm in this floor and people are walking past, including men and everything, I said to myself, they think I'm sitting here looking at the bottom shelf. Because I fell near a shelf that had a whole bunch of, it was a thrift store, so, it's just piles of stuff everywhere. So the way that I fell and the way I was sitting on the floor and the way that people were reacting, as far as having no reaction, as I was sitting in this floor and they were walking past and things like that. The way that it was angled and the way that I fell, I now know, and I also was thinking about it as I'm sitting in the floor, that they thought I was looking at all of the stuff that was on the bottom shelf, and I just sat there just so I can dig through all the stuff. But it's just crazy because I know for a fact that if I was my old 475-pound self and I was in the floor, everybody would have assumed I fell and collapsed in the floor because of my weight. They would have assumed that she is so big that she could not even walk and she fell to the floor. And it would have drew a crowd. It would have drew so much attention. Everybody, even if I had some kind of illness in my legs or something that was totally not weight related, everybody would have assumed, my God, she is so big that she collapsed under her own legs because of her weight. It would have just been assumed. How do I know this? Because I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I've been fat all of my life. So I've experienced it all. I've heard it all. I've seen it all. Okay. That is the reaction it would have caused. But because I am in my community blending into what people around me would not consider a huge amount of weight, because I'm fitting into that mold even more, closer and closer fitting into that mold, nobody noticed. It was like I was invisible. And that was my very first time of feeling like I was invisible. Now, did it affect me in a way that made me, again, like I said, it made me feel like, I have to try to get attention or gain attention by doing other things? No. Um, but what it did was it just showed me how it's just another experience for me, because I've never lost this much weight in my life. So with that comes new experiences. It's going to come good ones, it's going to come bad ones, it's going to come some neutral ones. This falls into a neutral one. However, it just was mind blowing to me, and it's something I wanted to share with you guys. How once you start blending into what societies consider normal, or what your society, your peers, your community considers to be average or normal or whatever, as you're moving towards that, it's going to be different reactions or lack thereof to you. And I just thought it was quite interesting. I just thought it was very interesting. It's crazy because now, as I observe, I'm pretty sure people are observing me differently, but I'm observing them differently as well. Um, I the other day I saw a guy ride past on a bike, and he had this really outrageous, crazy outfit on, and nobody really noticed it. But I guarantee you, if at 475 pounds, I would have rolled past on a bike, hair done to a T, outfit nice, cleaned up, pulled together, lip gloss, and all of that, and I would have rolled past on a bike. I guarantee everybody would have stopped and stared. I probably would have caused an accident from people stopping and staring. Not because of my attire, not because I was attractive on a bike, but simply because I was 475 pounds on a bike. But yet this small man that had this outrageous outfit on, because he was small and he blended in to what society considers normal, when in fact his outfit was quite abnormal. Because of him being normal in society's eyes, he was invisible. It was just really weird. And like I said, I'm observing things differently. I'm viewing people and how they interact and react to not only to me, but to others as well. And I'm able to pick up on certain things. And some things I don't even have to like dig to pick up on. Some things are just blatantly obvious. And I just find it quite interesting, so much so that I had to share it with you guys. So make sure you thumbs up to this video if you thought this was interesting as well, and if you've experienced some level of um, as you were changing, and for whatever reasons, because we all change and evolve, at least we all should. And it's not just necessarily weight. It could be once you graduated from college, or and you came back to your community, and how they reacted to you, or it could be once you got that job that you've always wanted, and that was, it was in your mind as unobtainable, and you obtained it finally, and you reaped all the benefits from that job and all the harvest from that job, and how people reacted to you. So it could be for any reason, but it's just funny and interesting when you sit back and see how people react to you, um, and react to change. And even when they don't even know the journey, the whole entire journey that you've experienced to get there, it's just interesting how there is always a reaction to the change. And even when people don't know the full story. So, on that note, you guys, I love you all so much. I thank you all for tuning in. And thank you for enduring this 15-minute video. But I thought it was quite interesting, and hopefully you did as well. Again, make sure you thumbs up. Make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. And I hope that you tune into all the other videos. Be blessed.